I only involved a very few people with the plans, and I found that I was having to reassure them that it was actually going to work, and in doing that I reassured myself.
It was a normal Saturday. As I was going down the stairs, I walked past the lounge and I heard the TV on. So I said, "Morning," and there wasn't any response. I was like, oh great, okay. So I went into the bathroom. On the sink, in between the two taps, there was a Russian doll, like a large Russian doll. Attached to it was a label, and the label said, "Open me." There were some chocolate mini eggs in there. I thought, good, there's my breakfast. There was also a small note, so I started to read the note and I basically followed the instructions on it. As you can see on the board here, we have clue number 1 in all its detail. Hop on the 921 from CP. Now this is where we get into the clues. HOP is obviously underlined and it's in capital letters. An acronym, in fact, for Honor Oak Park, which was the place where Laura lived when we first started dating. I noticed that the time on the note was incredibly close to actually what the time was at that moment. And yeah, I caught the train and finally got on, yeah. But only just. So I sat there and the train was quite empty because it was a Saturday morning. And I sat there and I was looking up and down the carriage trying to see if there was like something for me to see. Yeah, all these things were like rushing through my mind. I was trying to work out why she was doing it. I took the Russian doll with me because I thought, well, I might need it. I don't know, I might need to prove to somebody that yes, this is the right person. Look, I'm following orders. I'm not a nutcase, sort of thing. I also had in my hand just to remind myself that it was real and I hadn't hallucinated the first 10 minutes of the morning and now I was just walking around aimlessly. So I know where I need to go. I need to go to Honor Oak Park. But where in Honor Oak Park? That's the question. If we move on, it says head to the super, in inverted commas, the supermarket where we bought midnight mini eggs in our pyjamas. Now this might sound unusual to you, but for me this resonates. When I first quit drinking, I had other cravings. I had sugar cravings. I needed to eat Haribos all the time, and then I moved on to a harder fix. I went on to Cadbury's mini eggs.
There was one occasion where his craving for Cadbury's mini eggs was so dire that we had to go to this corner shop in our pyjamas at nearly midnight so that he could get these Cadbury's mini eggs.
The name of that supermarket was Broccoli Supermarket.
So I got up really early, got myself ready and left the house at about 8. And I knew that my first stop that I had to go to was this corner shop in Honor Oak Park. So I'd been there and I'd forward planned, and the weekend before I'd been to check when they opened. And so I duly got there at 8:30 and the shop wasn't open. And I thought, oh my God, this is going to be the one day that it's not open, or that they open late. And everything was so crucially timed that I couldn't afford to be there when Jamie arrived because I already had to have been along the way to plant the other clues.
It's about a 5-minute walk from the station though, so I mean this whole time while I'm walking towards it, I'm thinking, what do I say, what do I do when I go there, what am I looking for? I walked in and I made a beeline for the counter and there was a small Indian lady. This is going to be a bit strange, but do you have one of these? I thought, well, she must know. She looked at me like, like I was mad, like she didn't have a clue what I was talking about. My heart sank basically. I thought, oh no, I've cocked it up. I've gone in the wrong place. So I made my way out the shop. But as I opened the door, she shouted something to who I could only assume was her husband at the back of the shop.
Yeah. You got something in there.
Really?
Yeah.
He gave me another Russian doll. He gave me the next one down. I opened it there and then on the counter because I guess this couple were quite interested in what was going on as well. There was another message inside, and the message told me what to do next. It reminded me about when Laura and I had first met on Plenty of Fish, which is an online dating site. Something that when I tell my students, they all think I'm a loser. And I have to explain, most people in London do that. They still think I'm a loser though. Where am I at the moment? I'm at Honor Oak Park. I need to take the 10:06 from Honor Oak Park, and I need to cast my net in the water of Canada. Canada, water. Put them together. What do you have?
Canada Water, that's where we had our first kiss. So although Jamie and I met online, we had our first date together, which ended up with us parting ways at Canada Water. And so we had that kind of nice romantic kiss at the bottom of these escalators, and then we both parted ways, and only to realise that when we both went up, he was actually getting the train that led him one way and I was getting the train to go the other way, but we were actually stood on a platform with just the train tracks between us. And it was just this brilliant moment of we'd had this wonderful romantic kiss at Canada Water and then realised this kind of goofy sort of like, oh, okay, awkward of looking at each other across the platform. So that's why Canada Water is special.
So I got off the train, but I knew where I was going. I was going to the platform where Laura and I kissed for the first time. So I just made a beeline for that. I was stopped in my tracks. This hand just thrust a Russian doll into my face. It's just stranger's face. I'd never met this person before. He didn't say anything. He just looked at me and grinned, and then he just bolted away. He just ran off. And so I was just left there. And by this time, all the passengers had left. So it was just me on this massive platform. Yeah, I opened the Russian doll, and inside this one, because it was getting quite small by this point, understandably the only thing in there was a note, another clue. This was the most difficult one. It took me a while. I had to stand there and really say it over and over again. Okay, so we're on to clue number 3 now. From Canada Water to toilet water. Can you think of another word that we can use instead of toilet? 3 letters.
The place that we arranged to first meet was at the statue of Terence, I think it's pronounced Terence Canoe, at on the concourse of Waterloo Station.
Terence Cuneo has a message for you. It's along the lines of, you're shorter than I imagined. Why is Terence Cuneo passing on this message to me? Why is he being so rude? Well, when Laura and I first met, I approached Laura. She was waiting there underneath the statue. I saw her and I thought, wow, she looks really hot. She looks beautiful. She looks a lot younger than she does in her photos. I suppose that's a good thing. It's like the opposite of photogenic. I don't know what that's called. I can't say that to her. What shall I say? Oh, you look a lot younger than you do in your photos. Laura, without missing a beat, replied, yeah, well, you look a lot shorter. This is legitimate. On my Plenty of Fish profile, I did say I was 5'10". I am nowhere near 5'10".
I just had to get myself to Waterloo to be by the statue to be ready for Jamie when he arrived. And I was really nervous.
The stairs were in front of me before I'd have to actually arrive at the statue, so I thought, well no, I'll go up there and I'll actually be able to scout the area first. I went up there and I leant over and I saw it. Laura was there, and she was stood there and she was like looking around, waiting. She was all dressed up nice, she looked really, really beautiful. But I didn't just go downstairs and greet her. I took a photo of her, waiting there next to the statue and everything, with all the people around her. And I sent the photo to her phone.
I'm just looking at this picture thinking, don't understand.
That's when I approached her. So I mean, I managed to get my own back on her a little bit. And then she gave me the final Russian doll. And so, as with all the others, I took it in my hands and I opened it. And
To say that Jamie said yes to me is slightly wrong.
before I could see what was in there, Laura shouted, "Yes, Jamie!" And then my eyes focused on what was inside the Russian doll, and it was a ring. And so it actually ended up me proposing to her. Okay guys, that's the end of the lecture. Thank you very much. I'll see you the same time tomorrow. Please don't forget to do your homework. I don't want any excuses this time, Sammy. Not this time. Thank you very much. Thank you. Come on, the cleaners are coming in. Thank you.